Hello fellow foodies. With this colder weather, I've decided to cook some beautiful Halloween food. I'm going to cook a number of dishes which are absolutely perfect for this cooler weather. So without further ado, let's jump inside and I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare the most amazing Halloween food. To kick off this epic Halloween feast, I'm going to cook this amazing pork dish. This is some salted pork. I've actually made this in another video. I'm going to put the link below so you can check that one out. So this is diced, salted, cured pork belly essentially. And I'm going to use a really nice marriage of other ingredients to bring the best out in this pork. I've got some quartered onions. I've studded 4 of these quarters with some cloves. Also got some lottie beans here. I'm going to put in a couple of carrots. Also some black treacle. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons in. Tablespoon of some nice Dijon mustard, a little bit of brown sugar, and a good twist of some black pepper. I'm going to give this a really good mix around. And I'm going to use a little bit of water just to loosen up the mix. I'm going to put this into the oven at about 160 degrees. I'm going to cook this for a good 2.5–3 hours, very low heat. I'll take the lid off at the end just so it can gently reduce and get a bit more colour on this lovely dish. Now a Halloween feast wouldn't be complete without some lovely pumpkins. I've got a couple really good pumpkins here. I'm going to use a small sharp knife just to cut a circle on the top, and we can take that off and scoop out some of those insides. Going to scoop out all of the seeds, all of those insides of the 2 pumpkins. Here I've got some vegetable stock on the go. I'm going to have a little taste. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper, and I'm going to also add a bit of cream. So essentially we've got a really nice peppery, vegetably creamy mix here, and this is going to work really well to put inside our pumpkins. I'm also going to use a little bit of nutmeg. I've got my microplane here, so I'm going to grate that nutmeg in. Finally, we're going to pour this hot, creamy mixture into our pumpkins. And we're going to put it into the oven. We're going to cook at around 180 degrees for about 45 minutes, an hour or so, and then we're going to come back to it. I've got these lovely onions here, a few white and 1 red as well. I'm going to dice these up quite finely. And I've got a large tray here so we can put all of those onions in. What I'm trying to create is a beautifully roasted slow onion. We're going to add a little bit of sugar for some sweetness and some seasoning. And the idea is to cook these in a really low heat, and that will draw out the water and bring out the natural acidity. And we want a really nice golden brown onion, and these are going to be for our hot dogs. As I spoke about in my last video, I think it's really important to buy locally, and if you're buying from your local butcher, I think you've got a really good understanding of where that meat is coming from. These are really good quality sausages, and I've got them from my local butchers, Archer's Butchers in Norwich in the UK. I'm going to cook the sausages and onion on a low oven, about 160. I'm going to cook the sausages for about half an hour or so, just to gently cook them through, and then we're going to use a griddle pan to get some lovely charred marks on them later. I'm now going to prepare some lovely potato wedges. I've got these potatoes here, and I'm going to cut them quite finely, so half and then half again and then quartered. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, it'd be amazing if you could hit that like button. It really helps with promoting my video. I'm going to do this with the rest of the potatoes. I think the key to really good potato wedges is actually cooking them in quite a bit of oil, and also cooking them for a good amount of time, so the potato cooks through, but then you get a really nice bit of crispiness on the outside. And I'm also going to use a little bit of seasoning. If you haven't done already, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to my channel for incredibly tasty cooking videos that I'm posting every week. So I'm going to put these in the oven, 180 degrees. We'll cook them for about 40 minutes, an hour, something like that. But we will check on them, and we'll keep turning them so they can cook evenly. And I'll give them a good mix around. These pumpkins have been cooking for about 50-55 minutes or so the flesh is nice and tender, and we've got a really nice bit of colour on the outside. Now that flesh, we're actually going to use a large spoon just to scoop out a little bit. You've got to be careful here because obviously we've got quite a lot of hot liquid, so the last thing we want to do is burst the pumpkin, but we can gently just work around the outside and also the bottom just to break away some of that flesh. When that's become loose, I'm going to use a hand blender here. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to give it a good whisk around, and this will break up the pumpkin. It will mix with the vegetable stock, the cream, the seasoning, and also that lovely roasted pumpkin to make a beautiful pumpkin soup. Once this is done, I'm going to add some cheddar cheese into the mix. I'm just going to grate that in. I'm going to return those pumpkins back to the oven for another 10-15 minutes or so the cheese can melt. I've taken the lovely pork and onions out. You can see here there's still quite a bit of liquid, but the advantage of that is that beautiful salted belly pork has cooked really gently and is becoming extremely tender. So we can give this a good mix, and we can pop it back into the oven, lid off, and we can cook that for another hour or so. You can see these lovely onions and sausages have been cooking really nicely. Low temperature, so these sausages are pretty much cooked, so we're going to take these off, but we're going to continue cooking those onions. Now, to add a little bit of greenery to this lovely Halloween feast, I'm going to use a lovely savoy cabbage. Savoy cabbages are banging season and they're a really nice rustic vegetable, and I love using those outside leaves as well because they have so much character to them. They do need a good amount of cooking, so for this to happen I'm going to parboil them and then I'm going to cook them on a really high heat with some lovely bacon and a little bit of cream and chilli and garlic. So I've taken the core out and I'm going to cut these about 1 centimetre thick or so. I've got some boiling hot water here. And I'm going to drop that cabbage in for about 3-4 minutes or so, just to take that crunch off it. Now it's all starting to come together. I've taken the wedges out. I'm going to give these a good turnaround. You can see they've developed a really lovely golden colour. And what I'm going to do is use a little bit of Parmesan. I've got a potato peeler here, so we're just going to gently take off some Parmesan onto those wedges, and that will add a nice bit of cheesiness and crispiness to them. I'm going to put these back into the oven for another 10 minutes or so. We've got our griddle pan here. This is on a really nice high heat. These sausages pretty much cooked on the inside, but I want to get some nice charred marks on them. So I'm going to drop those sausages in. And also I've got a large frying pan on go, high heat, and I'm going to use some of that salted pork in there. And we're going to get a bit of colour on that pork. Now that pork has got a good bit of colour, I'm going to drop the cabbage in, and we just want to get a little bit of colour on there. I'm also going to add a little bit of chilli and also some double cream to this cabbage. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your support. I really hope you've enjoyed watching me prepare this most amazing Halloween food. It would be amazing if you could drop a comment below and tell me what you think. I'd really love to know which is your favourite dish out of all of these that I've prepared. And until next time, fellow foodies, happy cooking. I'm going to cook some delicious Halloween tweet. Hello fellow foodies. Today I'm going to cook some beautiful Halloween treats. You can see the weather is now.